When it was just the five of us in that cramped room, we didn't need project management software. A shout across the table was enough. Everyone knew the goal, the next step, who was doing what. The signal was crystal clear. Then we hired. And hired. Slack channels multiplied. Trello boards spawned subboards. Suddenly, that clean signal started to crackle. It wasn't anyone's fault, really. It's just physics. Add more transmitters, and you get interference. In a growing company, every new hire, every new tool, every new process layer adds a bit of noise. At first, it's a faint hiss. You barely notice. But then the hiss becomes a hum, and the hum becomes a roar, and one day you realize you're spending more time coordinating work than actually doing it. Think of a radio station. When you're close, the music is crisp. Drive out of range, and static creeps in. You can crank the volume, but the static gets louder too. That's the scaled trap. We assume that more people means more output, but without a way to coordinate the flow of information, you're just amplifying the static. The original message, the why, the what, the how, gets lost in transmission. Teams drift, duplicate efforts sprout, priorities blur. You didn't speed up, you fragmented. And the irony? The instinct is to add another tool, another sync meeting, another layer of management. But that's just turning up the volume on the noise. The signal doesn't get stronger. It gets buried deeper. The natural response to that roar was a dashboard. Leadership needed a single pane of glass, something to cut through the fog. Every metric, every project status, glowing in green, yellow, or red. Finally, clarity. No more shouting across rooms or digging through Slack threads. The signal was back, or so it seemed, but those colors are a lie. They don't reflect now. They reflect what someone typed into a spreadsheet on Friday afternoon. A project marked green on Monday morning might have derailed at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. By the time you see the red, the damage is done. The dashboard gives you a rearview mirror when you need a windshield. It's a snapshot of a moment that's already dead. And that snapshot is softened by human nature. Nobody wants to be the one to turn a box red. So reports get massaged. A delay becomes a minor scheduling adjustment. A budget overrun is exploring cost efficiencies. The dashboard doesn't capture the panicked phone call, the late-night code rollback, the key person who just quit. It shows you a tidy map of the battlefield, with all the blood wiped away. You think you see the whole theater, but you're just watching a heavily edited highlight reel. Worse, that map gives you the confidence to stop walking the floor. You trade conversations for charts. You stop asking messy questions because the numbers look orderly. But execution doesn't live in the dashboard. It lives in the awkward pauses during a stand-up, in the Slack message that gets deleted, in the decision that gets made by the water cooler. When you only see what the dashboard shows, you lose the sense of temperature. You know the score, but you've forgotten how the game is played. The rot isn't in the reporting layer. It's in the workflow itself. Traditional PMO frameworks were born in an era of certainty. You had a 5-year plan. You built a Gantt chart. You followed the sequence. That model presumed the world would hold still long enough for your approval streams to complete. It never does. Take a simple feature request. It starts with a doc. That doc needs a manager sign-off. Then a director's nod. Then it queues for the architecture review board, which meets every second Wednesday. By the time the green light arrives, the original insight is cold. A competitor already shipped something close. The window didn't wait. The governance, designed to reduce risk, created the biggest risk of all: irrelevance. Modern execution runs on a different fuel. Cross-functional teams don't pass batons between silos. They swarm problems. When data from a live-A/B test suggests a sharp pivot, there's no change control form. The team adapts. That's agentic adaptation, not a buzzword, but survival code. The workflow isn't a waterfall, it's a nervous system. Signals move fast. Decisions happen at the edge. No one waits for a stage gate to close. But in most organizations, these two realities collide every day. One flow is rigid, linear, and gated. The other is fluid, parallel, and responsive. It's not a maturity gap. It's a fundamental design conflict. And until the workflow itself rewires, no dashboard, no weekly sync, no escalation path will undo the drag. The fog persists because the triage is still human. We sit in meeting after meeting, sifting through the noise with a brain that can only hold so much. A manager scans 50 update emails and prays she hasn't missed the one anomaly that matters. It's a brittle, exhausting ritual. And it doesn't scale. You can't just add more meetings or more managers. That only thickens the fog. What if the filter could run itself? Not another dashboard, but a layer of autonomous software that watches the signals for you. That's the shift. Agentic workflows don't report the news. They read it, decide what's urgent, and route it before you even pour your coffee. These agents never blink. They monitor every commit, every customer ticket, every supply chain pain. They triage with a pattern memory no human team can match. A spike in payment failures in one region? It gets paired with a recent code deploy and routed directly to the payment squad. The rest of the company never hears about it. No all-hands-fire drill, no frantic Slack threads. The feedback loop that used to take weeks, from symptom to diagnosis to owner, collapses into minutes. You stop reacting and start responding. The real prize isn't speed. It's fidelity. When a human relays a signal, context bleeds away. The urgency softens, the details blur. An agent passes the full signal, intact, to the exact person who can act. So you can scale, more products, more markets, more moving parts, without the usual entropy. The quality of attention doesn't dilute. That's agentic scale. Growth that doesn't come wrapped in fog.